Hey everyone, welcome back to the Tori Kruse Show. I am super excited about today's guest. We have Traci Scarce with us. She is just a firecracker, a ball of energy, and authentically herself. And I'm so excited to share with you Traci today. Traci is a mama to 5 girls. Her husband, she says, is a beefcake, and she loves Jesus, her family transforming lives. And her Instagram even has a little bit of crazy mama Traci in it. And so welcome to the show, Traci. I'm so excited that you're here.
I am so excited to talk to you. I can't wait for the next however long we're going to be on here for because I talk a lot and you talk a lot. And so who knows how long it will be. But yes, I'm super excited. Thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Well, so at the time of this recording, we actually just got back from a convention, a health convention, and Traci was speaking. And I have never actually met Traci in person, but I feel like we have now. But I reached out to her because her energy on stage was so vibrant, so authentic, so her, and she had a really kick-ass pair of heels. Let's just be real here.
I did.
And
I
so
did.
I even stood up in the whole arena and took a picture of those dang heels because her outfit was fire. And so Traci, I just really want to dive in your own words too. I know that bio was a little bit about you, but dive in a little bit about really like what your passion is. I know loving people is one of those things that really stand out to you as well.
Yeah. My passion is people. My passion would be those green heels if they didn't hurt so much. But my passion has been and always will be people. I think everything comes from there. When you keep people at the center of everything that you do, life just looks different. Like you said, I just came back from a health convention and it's like people are like, oh, you're this, you're that. And I'm like, no, I'm Traci. I'm Traci, and I'm a lot of this and I'm a lot of that. But I just think, as far as passion, it's loving people and just, we talked about this a little bit, but just being authentically yourself and embracing who that is and thriving towards whatever that best version of you is. And sometimes we get a little lost down the path, right?
Yeah.
We're not always thriving, right? We're always trying to be thriving. Oh, yeah, this is me and da 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 da. But life takes us on twists and turns. But I think being authentically yourself is what I'm incredibly passionate about. I don't know how to be anyone else. I don't know how to be like you, Tori. I don't know how to be like the person next to me. I just know how to be me. And me includes loving people, loving Jesus, loving my kids, loving my beefcake husband. Although that's always challenging at times too. But my husband is totally a beefcake, totally, like super beefcakey. Yes.
What is this? I just have to ask, what is this? What does beefcake mean?
Okay, so to me, beefcakes mean, I mean, he's always been a beefcake. He used to be like kind of a chubby beefcake, but like, just like, he's just like a dude. Like, and now he has muscles and a six pack, which, like the world is like, wow, like your husband's a beef, like just a beefcake, like just a bundle of just beefiness, like all dude, except he's a phenomenal girl dad. Like he does hair, he can put on makeup on the kids. My kids are cheerleaders, and I've got, I mean, we've got kids that do all that kind of stuff. And so he was in charge of their hair. Kind of like, I mean, I don't even know how to do my hair. So if you look on my Instagram, you'll see my husband does my hair. So if my hair is curled, it was not me. It was not me. If my makeup's done, that's me. But my husband did all of the kids' hair all through the cheer years and all those things. And now the last one that's still cheering, she does her own hair. But if she needs help, dad's the run into it because I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I don't even own eyeshadow. I don't know how to do those things.
Yeah, talking to an image consultant here, I'm like, what? You don't know an eyeshadow, you don't know how to curl your hair, your makeup, like what? But you look gorgeous and you own it for exactly who you are. And I think that's just like the coolest thing ever is that you show up who you are authentically every single day. And so I want to go back like to younger Traci, maybe when you were like in your like teens or 20s, were you always just you? Or was there ever a time in your life where you had to overcome that and you're like, you know what? Enough of this. Here I am.
So in my teens and in my 20s, I've always been me. I've always beat to my own drum. And I've always been, and I can tell you this with all certainty, I've always been really confident in who I am. The only thing that took my confidence off track, to be honest with you, was my weight. I was always like a size 0 2, and I went all the way up to a size 20. And so that was really hard. And so because I was always part of the boys club. So any company I worked at, any place that I went, I would always walk in and be kind of like the power woman, right? Like, whoo, how do we handle this girl? But I was always sweaty because I was, really chubby. And so it took my confidence down. But anywhere I've been or gone to, I always give everything with my full heart. I don't half-ass anything, mainly because I have a really big butt, but like half butting it is not my jam.
Yeah,
Um,
look good in that leather skirt on stage.
I
I'm just
mean,
saying, you rocked it.
I just put my Spanx on because when you lose almost 100 pounds, you got to use some Spanx sometimes to keep all the nooks and crannies in, if you know what I'm talking about. But I put myself in that skirt. But I'll tell you what, walking back in Atlanta from the convention to the room, I had to peel that skirt off me. I was like, good Lord, this skirt might stay on me forever. But no, I've always been confident in who I am, and I've always been who I am. I'm not a follower. I'm a leader. And I always want to be a leader, although there are certain people that I look up to and I gain more confidence from, like, wow, I don't want to be like that person, but I just want to take a little piece of that and bring it into me because maybe it's an area that I'm not great at. But I just am who I am. Although I would say in my late teens and my younger 20s, I did some naughty things and went out of the realm of who I was. I was just, testing the waters, if you will, maturing into my own. And then I brought it back and I'm like, okay, enough of that. Let's keep going.
Yeah. Hey, everybody goes through that stage, right?
For sure. For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
That's so awesome. So now you're an entrepreneur. Prior to becoming an entrepreneur, what were you doing before then? And when did you have that moment? Maybe when you had your weight loss story, but when was that moment where you like shifted to entrepreneurship and how did that change in your life? Like what changed in your life because of that?
I feel like I've always been an entrepreneur. So I was always looking at business, trying to figure out, oh, wow, this could be done, or oh, I could make this better, or oh, I want to do this. I feel like I always had kind of like a side hustle. Like when eBay was big, I was in my really young 20s. I started myself an eBay business, a denim business, if you will. And so I would go and buy denim jeans off price and I would sell them. I'd buy them for 10 or 20 bucks off the clearance rack, extra 20% off, blah, 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 blah. And then I would go sell them on eBay for like 80 to 100 bucks, but I bought them for 18. And so I was always like pouring into that entrepreneurial spirit. I've owned a couple companies or had business partners here, there, and elsewhere. But I think it probably shifted for me where I knew someday I would be working for myself when I was about 20 or 21. But I do remember kind of veering from the entrepreneur and going to work for certain people. I was in retail for a long period of time, but I was always a leader in that space. And then I remember the most recent, I was working for a marketing firm. And I remember like hearing this still small voice of, you were made for more. Like, this is not the end game. And then from there, I wound up going on a health journey, which I thought had no idea to do with anything. And the Lord just kind of like provided me a vehicle to get in. There was already gas in the car. I just had to put my foot on the gas and do some, Apple Maps and figure out what ways to turn. And then I will literally be here impacting lives, transforming lives, and doing what I do most authentically myself for the rest of my life.
I love it. So tell our listeners what exactly you do day in and day out in the life of an entrepreneur in the health industry.
Yeah, so I would say there's a lot of different kind of one-liners I could give you, but I get people out of their yuck. If you're in yuck, then we're going to get out of it together. I'm kind of a no excuses kind of girl because I live a wild life and I've done all the things, and life outside this bedroom door. Yes, my office is in my bedroom, is absolutely nuts. And so I take people out of their yuck, out of their disappointment. I transform. It usually starts with the physical. So we go on a transformational health journey, which again starts with the body, and then really my sweet spot is the mind, because we don't get into an unhealthy place in our body without being in an unhealthy place in our mind. And I have no filter. So I feel like that lends itself well to pouring into people's life. I'm not a counselor. I am not a life coach, if you will. I really stick to what I do best, which is just speaking into people's lives and loving them all the way to healthy. And so that's what it looks like day in and day out for me. But of course, when I'm not in this seat and I'm outside those doors, I'm still always a transformational wellness coach. That's what I do. But I'm also a mom of 5 girls. I'm also a wife. We have 3 dogs. Like, I'm all of those things, and I'm a friend, and I'm a daughter, and I'm all of those things. And so the day to day looks like an intermixture of all of that. I've created a beautiful life where I can have some of the freedoms to do what I do best, which is my transformational wellness coaching. But I really just fit that in the nooks and crannies of all the other things I am to so many different people.
I love that. And so one of the big things is with a ton of the women who listen to this podcast is they're mamas and they're entrepreneurs and they have a crazy life. Of course, their daughters and spouse and all of that fun stuff, right? So like how do you juggle it all? Because that's a lot on your plate.
Yeah, I live in the and. So I often say my girlfriend Megan Valentine taught me how to live in the and. You can be a kick booty mama
Mhm.
that is raising 5 girls, which is super chaotic, and you can be a kick booty entrepreneur.
Mhm.
I can be sitting in grief or chaos or sadness, but I can also show up and lead people in the way that they should go. I can do those things together. You don't just have to sit in one place or the other. The juggle is just life. This is just life. And you just continue to climb the ladder, and you're going to fail in a lot of areas. And one thing I say all the time is success is piled on a mountaintop of failure. So if I'm succeeding at parenting, it's because I've made a lot of wrong decisions. If I'm succeeding in my business, it's because I've already tried everything that doesn't work, and you're just seeing the things that do. If I'm succeeding, or if I'm on the top of my marriage game, which is always sometimes I think the hardest piece, it's because we figured out a whole bunch of yuck to move through so that we can sit on that mountaintop for a season. We're not always on the top of the mountaintop, right? There's peaks and valleys. There's mountaintop moments in certain spaces of our life, but it's a juggle. It's always a juggle. You don't just do one thing and do it well and do that for the rest of your life. You got to do a lot of things well, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, no, I love what you say about live in the and I think that's something that's so valuable. I mean, even for me, just last night, I was like, oh my gosh, before I went to bed, I was like, I feel like I always have something to do. Like,
Yeah.
how do I turn it off? And I don't even have kids.
Yeah, it's called life. Life
Right.
has to be full, and you live a full life. There are a lot of things that you do. You're speaking into a lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
You've overcome, just like we had, a couple small minutes of conversation about, you
Mhm.
just kept overcoming obstacles. And when you are an overcomer, there's always something on the to-do list.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah. You're never idle, but you do got to work on your good sleep. It's really important because you show up
Yeah.
better. So there's that.
I mean, I was dreaming last night about a keynote in an NFL stadium. So I'm like, Jesus, just keep on dreaming. I'll keep dreaming. Keep on
I love
dreaming.
that. Yeah, just keep dreaming it, girl. You just keep speaking in and speaking into yourself. Let other people speak into you, and wake up as that future self. You are that
Yeah.
keynote speaker in an NFL stadium. And there's going to
Yeah.
be stepping stones to that, right? There's going to
Right.
be stepping stones. It just doesn't go from, your office to an NFL stadium. You gotta walk up the stairs. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So I love action steps. And I'm just curious for you, like what is something that keeps I know you've been through a lot of life challenges we were just talking about that are it's tough, right? And
sure.
you're still, like you said, you're living in the end. You're
Yeah.
plugging through even though you're dealing with some very difficult grief right now. So
Yeah.
how do you like what are some action steps that you do like for maybe your me time or alone time that you just like, or maybe it's not even alone, but just that you take to like keep your mental health because
Yeah.
you're helping so many people all the time,
Yeah.
right? And whether it's your
Yeah.
family or friends or clients or whoever, but like you got to keep your mental health up in order to show up as the best person for other people too.
For sure. I think a lot of things that I would do for like self-care or mental health is, uh, I think above and beyond anything else, you have to be grounded in your faith. I think a lot of people have a lot of different faiths, right? Obviously, I mean, for me, I'm a lover of Jesus,
Yeah.
and that's for me, right? Maybe there's something for other people, but I think if you're not grounded in your faith, um, the ride's going to look a lot bumpier. And so, every day I have to go to the Lord. And I get myself in these, I can fall into a pit too, right?
Yeah.
There's only one thing that can, you have to believe in something higher. You have to do something higher. There's something that has to be bigger than you to get through those things. So that would be number one. Number two, I try to get a massage every month. I mean, girl, lay on that table and let somebody touch you that doesn't want anything from you. Okay. Um, you got to get
Hey,
touched.
a lot of for the people in the back.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Don't lay on a table and let your husband massage you. I mean, there's a time and a place for that, but go somewhere where somebody doesn't want anything from you. They don't need to talk to you and get a rub down, right? People are like, "Oh, you gotta get your nails and your toes done. It's self-care." I'm like, oh no, like nails and toes are not self-care for me.
Yeah.
But you got to have some quiet moments. I say I'm an extrovert introvert. Like I have to have my downtime. Like mama goes to sleep at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night and doesn't wake up till about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. Like
Yeah.
if I'm not getting 8 hours, nobody's talking to me. I
Mhm.
know what I need. So for me, I know what I need, and for other people, figure out what you need in order to run at a high level, in order to run at a high speed. Self-care for me is time with my kids. Self-care for me is time with my kids. That is where I am my happiest.
Yeah.
And I would say, my second happy with my family, my kids, my husband, and my second happiest, I would say, where I thrive the most is just working with people, just bringing whatever it is out of them and showing them you've got this, and you can do all the things that you think you can do, but your head's telling you that you can't. That's
Yeah.
why on stage, when we were at convention and I was blessed with the opportunity to have a 20-minute keynote,
Yeah.
um, I just went out there, man, and I was like, let's freaking go. I'm easier on that stage in front of however 14,000 people, 15,000 people, and however many were online, so tens of thousands of people.
Mhm.
That's easier for me than even just, this is also easy for me, but
Yeah.
I thrive more there than I do anywhere else.
Oh gosh, I could not agree more. I know that same feeling, and I think some people will like personal or public speaking is what the number one fear for most people. So a lot of people are probably listening, like you are absolutely crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, being there and seeing you speak, like yes, you were like lit up, you were on fire, like it was just rolling.
Yeah.
And so where does that come from? Have you always been a speaker, or were you like, if somebody's listening, they're like, I'd really love to speak on stages or maybe even on a podcast to promote my business or
Yeah.
promote just what your beliefs are.
Yeah.
How in the heck do they do it?
So I would say I've always been like that. I was a little bit of a Disney star. I did some work in Hollywood, and that was super fun, and kind of hung out with. This kind of a funny story, but you said, "Have you always been who you are?" Yeah, I like to go into areas and just light them up. I've always been who I am. I loved going to Hollywood. I loved being in front of a camera. A teleprompter is my friend. I did about 108 episodes on the Disney Channel of a dance show called Videopolis. I was on the new Leave It to Beaver. So that part of me to be out in front of people has always been the way that I am. I would say as I got older, we tell ourselves more stories in our head that we can't be that way, right? As we have
Yeah.
baggage, the layers go on top. So I always was like, no, Traci, you have confidence. You keep doing the things that you do. You are made for more. And it's like almost like positive affirmation stuff.
Mhm.
Before I went on that stage, I sat for about 5 minutes, actually behind the stage, and I just really, really got in the zone. And I just told myself, "You are made for this moment. You are an impactor of lives. You are going to do things for these people. You're going to peel back layers. This is who you are." And if you continue to tell yourself that, then you will be all of those things in whatever space that looks like. But you have to not fall into the trap of telling yourself the story that you're not that person, because that's where we get stuck. That's where we get stuck.
Yeah.
Got to continue to overcome that disappointment and pull yourself up by your bootstraps and keep going.
Where's the point where you can pull yourself up by the bootstraps and just like keep going, plow through, keep showing up? And then where's that moment? Like, where's that juggle? Because I think it's a fine line of where you
Yeah.
kind of stop for a second and
Yeah.
be like, this season is for more rest.
Yeah.
Where's that like juggle for most
So
people?
good. That's so good. I just went through one of those seasons. Picking yourself up by your bootstraps is really just helping you understand that you only have two choices. You can sit in your yuck, and that actually takes a lot of freaking energy, and it's
Yeah.
exhausting. It actually takes less energy to pull yourself up and be like, okay, I've got something to do. I have a mom to be. I have, there are people that need you, and other people are waiting on the other side of you getting out of that quicksand, right? So picking yourself up is just mindset focused. If you can get in control of your mindset and continue to talk yourself out of those things, you've got the keys to the kingdom. There are seasons that you need to step back. I just went through one of those seasons last May. We had a horrible tragedy that affected our entire family. And I had to take a step back. I had probably a pretty hard time for about 3 weeks, even getting out of bed in the morning. And when I got out of bed, I couldn't stop crying. Because when life hits you, it hits you. And then the hits just kind of kept on coming, one on top of the other, where you're really like shaking your fist at the Lord. Yes, I just said that. I'm like, you apparently think I can handle a lot more than I can.
Yeah.
But here I am using beauty from pain, right? And being able to maybe inspire just even one person with my story. But there are seasons to take a step back. But it doesn't mean you take a step back and you sit in a chair that has super glue on it. It means you take a step back and you know your boundaries. And then there's a time and a place to get back to what needs to be done in the world, because you were put in the world for a purpose. There's only one of you, there's only one of me. We all have a specific journey and a road to walk. And if we stop walking that, then that impact's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And there's people out there thinking that they're not built for impact. You are. That's why there's only one of you, you know?
Mm, that's good. Let's go down that road a little bit. Tell us more about that. How everybody's built for impact. I've never heard anybody on the show say that before, and that's super, super profound. So let's go down that road.
Ah, yeah. So like if you look at your hands, you're the only person with that fingerprint. The only person in the whole entire world. First of all, you could get lost in thinking of that. It's almost stressful. Like, I mean, I don't even know. Somebody give me a glass of water with a lot of ice, because it's like I am the only person in this world that has this fingerprint. You are the only person in this world that was built like this. You come out of your mom's chute, right? As this baby, and your life experiences mold who you are. And then it's really interesting. I had a coach that did a training the other day, and I was like on the edge of my seat, which doesn't always happen. And he said, I've got, I'm going to stick it now right here. Jake and Angela are two of my coaches, said, I have never had this day before. I have never had this day before. So when you wallow away this day, watching Netflix, doing nothing, uh, which every so often you have to do,
Yeah.
you have to realize, okay, I've never had that day before. Now it's gone. What am I going to do today? When you realize that you're made for impact in some way, your impact's not going to look like my impact. We're all created differently. There are skill sets out there that I will never freaking have. But you have to take that, figure out what your strengths are, and move forward and say, okay, I need to fine tune these strengths and go figure out how I can impact the world with it. And if we just continue to sit, it's like the parable of the gifts and talents. If you bury those in the sand, you're not going to be given any more.
I think there's a lot of people that don't even know their gifts and talents.
Yeah.
It's taken so long for them to find them if they have, but a lot of them are still sitting in that place of, well, like what are they?
Yeah.
Do you have any recommendations for people who maybe are sitting there and like, I have no clue what my gifts
Yeah.
and talents are?
Yeah, for sure. Because you can start no matter when. Like you can start when you're 18, you can start when you're 40, you can start when you're 60. Some people find their gifts and talents at 75 or 80,
Yeah.
right? And then they wish, oh my gosh, I would have started back then. I love, I'm trying to think of the exact name of it. My husband shared about it the other day on his Facebook. It's called the Strengths Finder.
Mm.
It has nothing to do with your personality, nothing to do with Enneagram. I know your Enneagram is all the rage. Listen, I don't need to know any more about my personality. I do not need to know. Like my personality is so loud and so crazy, but I need to know about my strengths. Like where can I be used? And so the Strengths Finders test, and there's a company I could look it up real quick, but it tells you what your strengths are and where you should be working. So it gives you your top 10, but your top 5 are your superpowers. Those are your superpowers. And you are supposed to operate in those. And anytime you operate in those, you are going to be created for impact. And then there's your next 5. And listen, your impact may be being a mom. And I never say just being a mom, because what a job.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, what a job, right? You're not there yet, but I am. And so I can tell you it's a job, right?
Mhm.
But then it tells you your next 5. And those are not necessarily your superpowers, but you operate really well. And then there's 11 through 30. And those are things that you're not super great at. And you may be looking at the list going, I swear I was great at that. I promise I'm great at that. But you don't need to spend your time fine tuning there. So if you're looking for who you are and what you are in the world, figure out what your strengths are and go from there. It's a great starting point to work off of if you're not born like a spaz like me, right? You don't all look like me. Can you imagine millions of Traci Scarces in the world? Good Lord. It makes me
I mean,
tired.
it'd be a fun place.
It
It'd
would
be
be a fun
exciting.
place. It would be a fun place. Yes. But yeah, that's where you start. You got to figure out what you're good at. Take a piece of paper, any piece of paper, figure out what you're good at and start there. Figure out what you love to do, what fuels your passion, and then go deeper. If you've ever listened to something called the 7 layers of why, or the
Yeah.
seven whys or something like that, and go deeper and deeper. Well, why am I passionate about this? Okay, what's the next layer? What's the next layer? What's the next layer? And then all of a sudden you'll get down to the root of what that looks like.
Yeah. Yep. I took that in Dean Graziosi's and Tony
Yeah.
Robbins
Yes.
KBB school, or
Yeah.
business blueprint. But yeah, that is a really, really good one. And I think too, sometimes it's like taking your mind to a place of whether you're like meditating or if you're having a tough time, like even
Yep.
figuring it out once you start writing it down. It's like maybe go for a walk or go for a hike or
Yeah.
like get out in nature and remove yourself for just like 20-30 minutes, maximum. And it will just like movement
Clear your
always.
head.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes, for
So,
sure.
but no, I think that's super beneficial to find your strengths. And I love what you said about the personality too, because
Yeah.
I like completely agree where most of us know our personality to it.
Right.
Like we
Yeah.
know it. Just admit it.
Yeah.
It's probably the
Yeah.
next step.
I wish I was this person that was like, I want to read all the books on the Enneagram. I'm like, oh no, like
Yeah.
I totally get one. Let me see. I'm a wing or 2 wing 3. What am I? A 2 on a good day? What does a 2 look like on a bad day? Oh no, I'm super aware of what I look like on a good day, and I'm super aware of what I look like on a bad day. Put me in high leverage activity. Let me figure out what my strengths are, and then let me go from there.
Yeah.
Although I do think there's great worth to the Enneagram for sure,
Yeah.
but it's not my job.
Yeah. No, I love it. I completely agree. So, okay. So what I want to jump to is the loving people, because that's something that you're really passionate about. And what I truly, from the outside looking in, is what has probably brought you the most success, because loving people, pouring into people, man, like I feel like that's what God put on your heart. And I even see your little sign in the love the people in the background. It's so adorable. So tell me, like, what from your heart, like what loving people like truly means to you and how it's gotten you to where you are today.
Yeah. So loving people for me is pretty unconditional. Although I do think there need to be boundaries, with the people that can't respect your unconditionalness,
Yeah.
right? I've had to learn that. Because I'm such a lover of people, I've had to learn what boundaries look like. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this is not going down the right road. But loving people, I think there's one motto that I live by all the time, and it's don't leave people the same way you found them. Because if you've met someone and you leave them the same way you found them, and you haven't like got in the weeds with those people, and you haven't figured out what makes them tick, what are their skills, what do they do well, I think we're better together. So super cheesy, right? Hashtag better together, right? We are better together.
Yeah.
Like God put us on this planet to do life together. So if you don't leave people the same way you found them, that means that you are literally touching people in a way that is not only changing their life, it's changing your life, because it's not just me that has something to offer. You have something to offer me. You're going to make me better, Tori. Like, you just even telling me just a small part of your journey where you're like, I got told no all these different times, and then I finally walked the Miss America stage. I'm going to think of that. I'm going to think of that at a point in time where I'm feeling defeated. You know what? Tori got told no 8 times or maybe even more. She overcame. If she can overcome, I can overcome, right? You probably knew how to do your eye makeup better than I did. So,
Well, I mean, I only took about 100 lessons before Miss USA, so I think I should
yeah.
probably.
So see, you have something to teach me. You have
Yeah.
something to teach me, but don't leave people the same way you found them. Loving people is a beautiful thing. Like I said earlier, if you keep people at the center of everything that you do, everything comes from there. And if you think of how the world started, right? Again, I am pretty unapologetic about my faith. We love because he first loved us.
Yeah.
That's like the first principle of the whole wide world. All problems stem from people not feeling love.
Mm.
Our unconfidence stems from not feeling loved. Our being scared or living in fear comes from being denied in a relationship, someone not treating us well, which is not showing love. Like, and I'm not saying I'm kind and loving all the time. Listen, I'm Italian. I'm hot-headed. I got a mouth on me. I try to deliver the grace and truth and love in a nice little package with a bow on top of it. But holy smokes, I fail all the time. But I'm always trying to reel myself in, right? But yeah, loving people is at the center of everything that we should do. That is why you have a heart, right?
Yeah.
That is why you have a heart.
Yeah, I love what you said there about that love is at the core
Yeah.
of every human being. And that's what we desire. There's even a book, I want to the 4 Agreements, I think is maybe
Yeah.
what I'm thinking of, that is all about love as well. And it's there's the Mastery of Love and all these other ones, but that's so important. And I love that you mentioned that that love is at the core of everybody. And so you've built a pretty large life, right? And a large business. And what would you say, we have so many entrepreneurs on here too. What would you say is the key to growing your business when you are managing or linking arms, walking beside a group of people, a pretty large team? What would you say is the key to continual success? And I'm not just talking financial success either. So I kind of want you to talk about the key to success and fulfillment with linking arms with other people in your team.
Financial success is a beautiful thing, but it's a side effect of loving people in whatever space you're in. We're not even talking health coaching. Like, I'm not even talking about what it's like to be a transformational wellness coach and build a big business. So I think there's a couple things for to be successful, because anywhere that I have gone, I'm like, I'm going to be successful at this. I'm going to be the best there is to do. And at the core of that, and we all just talked about it for 10 minutes, is people, right? It's relationships. You cannot build a beautiful business while being a total jerkhole. You just can't. Like, when I see people at the top and they're total jerkholes, I'm like, wow, they must have a phenomenal team around them that cares about people for them to still be leading at the top. We're just using them for their brains, because everybody else has to care about people in order to build something. So people are your number one. Number 2, you have to lead from the front. You can never ask anybody to do anything that you're not willing to do yourself. So if you're going to build something big and beautiful, then you got to build it first. And then you got to show people how to do that. And that is what comes in next, is transferring a skill set. If I'm going to lead from the front and tell you that loving people is the key to success, then I better teach you how to do that. So one of my mentors, Doug Wood, who's phenomenal, he's amazing. He told me, okay, Traci, and he said, can I coach you? And this was about 5 years ago. Actually, maybe longer, about 5.5 years ago. Can I coach you on something you said today? And I was just this young buck that was full of excitement. I was like, oh my gosh, what's coming right now? And he said, you're letting people know and you're telling people what to do and you're sharing, but you're not giving them measurable action steps on how to do that. So I can tell you what to do, which is a very transactional way to do life. Or I can teach you what to do, which is a very transformational way to do life. Always operate in the transformational and bring in the transactional with it. Um, and teaching people how to love, how to build, how to have a skill is just about taking more time and figuring out how they learn best and then delivering your message that way.
Wow, that's so good. That's so good. So, wow. So, I'm like speechless after that one because I love how you said, let's go back real quick and just repeat the transformational
Yeah.
and transactional because I think that little nugget right there is like one of the best things that's ever been said on the show.
Okay, let's do it like this. Okay, we talked earlier about how I don't know how to do my makeup. I don't even own foundation. I don't even own eyeshadow, right? So let's just hypothetically just role play here. So I could be like, you could be like, oh my gosh, Tracy, you you have got to wear eye makeup. It would brighten up your eye. You would have so much fun. You could do a little wingtip if you decided to go to some sassy little party. Like I would never do a wingtip. I mean, I would look like Elvira, but whatever, right? That's for other people, not for me. Remember, I know my personality. So, oh my gosh, it would have so much fun. It would lift your eyelid here. You said you had heavy eyelids. Da 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 da. So you're telling me things that would make something about me better, right?
Yeah.
And then you could say, oh my gosh, Tracy, this would be so much fun for you. You should do your makeup like this. Let's take 5 minutes and I'm going to show you how to do this. And I'm going to teach you real quick. And then I want you to see the difference on the other side of that. And then you haven't just told me what to do, you've showed me what to do. And now I know how to do it. And now I can go do it for other people.
Yes.
So
Love
that's the difference between transactional and saying, oh, you should do this, and transformational. What
yes.
about prayer? We tell people all the time, oh, Tori, I'm going to pray for you. Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Super transactional. And then the difference on the other side, when you're in the transformationals, Tori, can I pray with you right now? Can we pray together? Do you see the difference?
That's so good. Yeah. I feel like even that one too, from a spiritual standpoint, like that one happens all the time,
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah. Transformation comes from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're passionate about not leaving people the same way you found them, you will be transformational every single time. I
Yeah.
couple it with transaction. I know the transaction of what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to change somebody's life. And it might just be their eye makeup, or it might be a prayer, or it might be teaching them a skill set in whatever space they're in. But it goes the distance every time. That's how you don't leave people the same way you found them.
Mm.
Yeah.
You have such a beautiful heart, such a beautiful heart. And there's not that many people out there that really get that right away from the key of transactional to transformational. And
Yeah.
like it is just it runs through you, but like you can see the light. Like when I saw you first on stage, you could, and that's why I asked you to be on this show because I saw that light within you. And when you love people like you do, which is like you said in your own words, unconditional, it literally shines through you. But then so does your authenticity. And I just have to tell you, there's not very many people in this world that have that same vibrant light that you do. This phenomenal. I love people too. There's so many amazing people in this world, but not very many people's light shines so authentically day in and day out. Like I see yours, and even on your social media now that I'm following you on social, on stage, through the Zoom, and just through your words. You're just really impactful. And the world, we're so lucky to have you in this world, and your light shines so, so, so bright. And
Thank
even
you.
brighter with your yellow nails and your yellow shirt.
I want to touch on one thing, and I know we're probably over on time, so just bear with me here because I'm like, okay, I have to
It's
share
all right.
this. With people whose light shine brightly, they know who they are, right? In order for your light to shine really bright, you have to be really comfortable in who you are.
Yeah.
But like we were talking about earlier, grief happens, life happens, we get stuck in our yuck. Um, there are times when I'm not like this, right? There are times when I'm stuck in my bed and I'm crying myself to sleep and I'm trying to figure out how do I take the next step. Um, but you don't have to sit in that. So if someone out there right now is struggling, like, oh my gosh, my light has dimmed. Oh my gosh, I used to look like this person. How do I get that back?
Yeah.
You get up and you put one foot in front of the other. If you are sitting in something right now that where you need to overcome it and get back, You've got to take what you know is already in you. If you were that person before, you can be that person again. And so I don't want to just be like, oh yeah, everything's always flowers and yellow nails and all of these things and leather skirts and snapping this and snapping that, telling people to suck it when, being transparent. I think I told people to say, if you gain 10 pounds, tell it to suck it. Like, just keep moving on, right? But there's times when my best friends are like, whoa, Trace, you're not in a good place. And I have to just sit and remember who I am.
Yeah.
Remember who you are. Remember your fingerprint. Remember who God made you to be. And find that person again.
You're giving somebody who's listening to this podcast so much hope right now and so much realness and exactly what they needed to hear. So thank you for being real, being you, being authentic, and being vulnerable as well with your story. So thank you so much for coming on the show. Tell everybody where they can find you, because I know your Instagram is also a source of joy and inspiration and realness.
Yes. Come be crazy with me. Come see the hard times, come see the good times and everything in between. And you can come see my kids too, but it's crazy, Crazy, mama, MAMA, Traci, Traci. So Crazy Mama Traci, all one word, on Instagram, easiest way to find me. Or you can follow me on Facebook. Don't friend me. I'm out of friend requests. I don't know what to do about that. But yeah, that's where you can find me at.
Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you again so much. You're such a source of joy and light in this world. So thank you for being you. Keep showing up as you every single day. Thanks for coming on the show.
Okay. Bye guys.